Welcome to DugOut Talk. This is our second podcast.
Round two.
What's up? We have Sarah. I'm Tommy. I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce her since she's your compadre.
Yeah,
Bestie.
one of my all-time favorite coaches that I've worked with, that I've coached against, Sarah Richardson. Sarah, why don't you introduce yourself and kind of give us your background bio?
Oh, jeez. I don't even know if you
resume,
want
girl. Let's see that.
I don't know. Okay, so I played at Central Michigan. I was a pitcher, and
Is
then
that
I played
D1
at University of Evansville.
Was that a D1 and a D2, D3? What was that?
D1, both of them D1, mid majors.
Woo, girl.
Right. Too bad it went downhill after that. And then I was a pitching coach, softball instructor for just about everything. From there, I went to College, which is a NAIA in Nevada, Missouri. It's an all-girls school. Super hard to recruit to. Middle of nowhere. And then I ended up at Buena Vista as the assistant coach, turned interim coach, turned head coach. So yeah, and that's a D3.
Got it. Great. Okay, cool. Thank you for that bio. Obviously, we understand that, but we want our viewers to kind of get it from you, so we appreciate that. So we're just going to go right into it, Sarah. Part of, we've all kind of talked about this in the past, but just talking through some things, especially recruiting, when you guys are out there, busting your butt all day, 14, 15-hour days, seeing, as many kids as possible, and there's not enough time in the day to see all the kids, obviously.
Yes.
And just the real struggle, budget, having to kind of pay for it yourself. And if you don't do it yourself, you lose out on a lot of kids because you can't see enough kids, right? So
We know that.
I think we're all agreeing on that. And, with 1,700 colleges out there on the softball side, there is no way that when we go to these college recruiting events that we see 1,700 college coaches.
No.
Right. So, I mean, we're seeing what, 20 to 40, maybe, if they show up.
Usually the same ones too.
And it's the same ones every time we see, right? It's the same ones, exactly. So, it's these high school athletes that come out there, and mom and dad are expecting all these coaches. Man, that's less than 1% of all the college coaches in the whole country.
Yeah.
Be good luck if you even have a conversation with one of them over a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
Right. So anyway, so we're gonna dive into that. I'm gonna let Tommy start the first question. We have 4 each for you, and then I'll let you just talk. Let you talk through it and give us kind of your feedback on some of these questions. Okay. So Tommy, here you go, buddy. Turning it over to you.
Well, I'm going to give you the easiest one first. What do you think about that, Sarah?
Home run.
Home run. Boom. Gone. So why don't you talk to us about, what's the most important thing when you're out there recruiting, what you're looking for, what you see on a basis? What's the intangibles that you're looking for? What stands out to you? What doesn't stand out to you?
Great question.
Mainly I look for good character kids. As a D3 coach, I don't have money to give. So you're playing purely on the fact that you want to be there, and getting an education that's usually top tier because it's a private school.
Yeah.
But I can't pay for you to be there. So you have to be wanting to be there. And I look for character kids that just love the game, just in general, because like I said, there's no money in it.
So real quick, I really want to, I mean, this is important. Every college coach, when we talk about this, that everybody's this character. Well, some of the good ones, you know what I mean? And you see it, right? I mean, it really means something to you, especially because there's no scholarships except for academic. So when you say character, can you just kind of go into a little bit when you're out there looking at these kids? What is character?
One, are you a good person? How are you treating your parents, your teammates, your coaches? Because it's not just being recruited on the field. You also get recruited off the field. Like when I see you leaving or entering a field, I pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if you're wearing your uniform and I'm out to eat, pay attention to that too, especially if you're a kid that I want to see. And then I also see how your parents act in the stands, because that's also important. We're not just recruiting the kid, we're recruiting the family too. and we want good character for both.
Yeah.
On the field, how you interact with your teammates. Are you blaming other people for your mistakes? How do you recover from a mistake? Are you having fun? Are you enjoying yourself? That's a big one. Are you enjoying yourself out there? Because if you look like you're miserable, I don't want you. That's like, I want someone that enjoys the game as much as I do and wants to be there as much as I do. So the character that I look for is that how they treat one another and how they interact with each other, but also like the people in the stands.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what are some?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, so what are some standout red flags? Oh, he's always trying to talk over me. Dang it.
The big brother.
So, I know. So what are some red flags that you've seen? I know that you and I talked about this a bunch. What are some red flags that you've seen where this is 100%? I'm a no for this kid.
Placing the blame on someone else after a mistake, or pouting, the slumped shoulders, bad body language on the field after a mistake. Walk away. Can't do it.
We can hear the dugout. We can hear them.
Yeah. When the way that they talk to each other in the dugout. Yeah. Honestly, if I hear something super negative, like, usually you can tell if they're just kind of being funny about it. But if they're super negative in the dugout, bye-bye. Or I've seen kids turn around and look at their parents. If you're communicating with your parents in the game instead of paying attention to your coaches or the game that's going on, red flag.
You're cut off.
Bye-bye.
I get it. No, I get it.
It's funny we talk about this, but it's so true.
Yeah.
I don't know why they continue to do it.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
So kind of leading into that, Sarah, to my second question. This is one that I'm sure is going to be a touchy subject for all coaches, really. But give me some experience.
I thought we were going back and forth. I thought I was going to.
We are. I thought you tried to do my 4. Oh man, nice try.
Dude, you're already screwing it up.
Nice try.
Sarah, come on, man.
All right, I'll go 2, then he'll give you the 2. How about that?
I give a script, he can't even follow.
Tough crowd.
So I have the next question, just FYI.
All right, I'm gonna go because he's too big.
Here we go. As a pitching coach, what do you look for in a pitcher when you're out there recruiting them?
So same thing, like a character kid, a pitcher that gives credit to her teammates.
So
I have seen
fly ball in the center field. They want to catch it.
You better be giving credit to that center fielder, because as a pitcher, we're nothing without our fielders.
Wow.
I mean, I was a rise ball pitcher. I had a lot of pop-ups. And if I didn't have outfielders to catch those pop-ups, I was giving up dingers, left and right.
Yeah.
And we have pitchers nowadays that they're so focused on themselves and the strikeout because they want to look good. It wants to be for them. That's not how this game is played. I'm sorry, it's not. Pitchers, you better be giving credit to your fielders when they make a play. And your catcher too. Give your catcher some love because they get no love whatsoever. And that was one of my biggest pet peeves, is when a pitcher does not give credit to her catcher. Because catchers get no love.
Yeah, that is true. Because
they're in 100-degree heat with all that gear on. Come on.
They're
working just as hard.
Get started on that. Jesus, that's
No kidding.
podcast in itself.
Yeah.
All right. So that was my question. Thank you very much. That's so important. Besides bad body language, obviously, but that's huge because you got to think your team. There's 8 other people behind you and in front of you, right?
Yeah, and the days of the dominant pitchers has kind of, it ebbs and flows, but we're seeing a lot more in college, especially, that we're seeing staffs.
Yeah.
We don't really have one dominant pitcher that can go a full 7 innings. We see staffs now. Yeah. And if you can't give credit where credit is due to your fielders, then you're not stepping on the field.
Yeah.
That's so true.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Tommy, you're up. Number 2. Question.
Wow. Winner. So kind of going back to what we talked about earlier. Talk to me about your experiences dealing with parents at the collegiate level. I know that
that's the whole podcast in itself
is different, but I mean, the whole point of this platform for us is to educate parents and players. And I think that some of this stuff gets kind of pushed to a side a lot.
Yes.
And, as a head coach or an assistant coach, there's a lot of things you have to do in dealing with other, parents or in games, and it's tough, even when we recruit, correct?
Yeah. And it's always parent knows best. They know their kid the best. My kid would never do that bullshit. Sorry. Bull crap. You're you're not at practice every day. You don't see how they're interacting with their teammates. You don't see how they're interacting with me. You don't even see how they're interacting in their classrooms. So when a parent comes to me and is like, my daughter is, blah, 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 whatever. No, that's not cutting it. I'm sorry. Your kid is not performing. She's not going to play. Your kid is showing up late to practice. Your kid is not giving me 100% effort in practice. She is giving me bad body language, bad attitude, but she's putting on a show for you. Like, I get so many parents that are like, my kid deserves. No, your kid does not deserve. Your kid has to earn. So dealing with the parents at the collegiate level, your kids are adults. If they have a problem, they need to come talk to the coach. It's not on you anymore. It should never be on you, honestly, unless they're 8 years old. But then you should probably teach them how to talk to a coach.
Yeah.
And it gets so frustrating when I have parents calling me left and right because I am doing such a bad job. Well, if you think you could do better, then why didn't you apply for my job?
Yeah. Well, let's kind of dive into that. Not that, but let's dive into the whole parent thing. It's almost like they're entitled because of high school and in travel that the coach communicate that to them. And that's not at the college level.
Or they get to play, or they have to play because they're paying for it.
Yeah, and
it's a different world. There's 5 of each player on that program, at least, right? Some more.
Yes.
I mean, it's just
and
different.
Your kid is now, in an environment that has multiple kids that were the best on their teams. Your kid is no longer the best on the team.
Yeah. Well, and we go back to what I was just talking about, and that's, listen, you don't have to communicate that to the parents. Your job is to that athlete. That's it. It stops there. You don't owe the parents anything. And the parents think they're entitled because they were so used to it in high school, right?
Yeah.
Our travel ball, because they're paying for it. Well, guess what? You're paying for them, or their academics is paying for that, not that. And it's you and the player, that's it. And there's such a misconception. And then these emails kind of go up the chain, and it's just a nightmare. And you guys are just doing your job. But the thing is, you already said it once. They don't realize what they're doing or how they're acting on campus, off campus, on the field, off the field, with their teammates at the chow, whatever. They don't see them like you do on a regular basis, right?
Right. Well, and the other hard part that I think parents forget is, so the parents only concerned about their kid. I have to consider the 25 other kids that I have on the team.
Yeah.
It's not just about your kid. It's about all of them and what is best for the team as a whole, not just your kid.
Yeah.
100%.
So we have about, oh my gosh, I think we have like 10 minutes left, so we got to get cooking. My second question is out of the typical 500 players at a college showcase or more, right? How many do you actively consider for recruitment?
Probably like 3.
Do the math on that, people. It's less than a 16th of a percent.
Hey, I disagree. I think it's her 3 plus she tries to take my 2 or 3. Nice try. Nice try.
Hey, that's good banter.
Usually we're fighting over the same kid, so
yeah, that's true. That's true.
No.
It's all fair, love and war. I get it. No, I get it.
You know what's so funny about that though? And in all seriousness, parents love that. They love to see that you guys have a personality, that you guys care.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it actually benefits the both of you. It's just,
especially when we run into each other and we're actually actively recruiting the same kid at the same time, and we're like shoving each other, like, no, don't talk to him, talk to me.
Yep. It's been fun.
You would lose out a lot just because you're academic and he's not so academic.
Yeah.
And that's
I think I've lost every competition so far.
Yeah, I mean, and that just is what it is, right? It is what it is. Division 1, 2, 3, NAI out, JUCO, it's all different. But
hey, to defend myself, just for the record, I do try to help her as much as possible.
Yes, he does.
Of course you do. No, I mean, yeah, that's just being a good guy, right? Not just a good coach guy. All right, stop patting him on the back. It's getting ridiculous. Tommy, you got question 3.
Okay, this one might take a little too long, so try to keep it short if you can. Tell me your best story about coaching or what you've had to deal with in the past.
You want the best or the worst? Because
well, up to you. You choose.
Best story.
Okay, best story, worst case scenario, took a line drive to the back of the head. So
Yes.
Tommy told
coaching.
me about that. I heard
Yeah.
you don't have college feet anymore.
Do what?
You don't have those college feet anymore. You couldn't get out of the way of that, could you?
He wasn't pitching then.
Best case scenario, I turned my head and I took it right in the back of my
Oh.
right in the back of my
You took
skull.
it right in the back of the pumpkin. I heard about that.
Oh yeah. Otherwise, it would have broken my jaw.
Oh, so it's probably
But
good.
I got lucky because it hit the base of my skull. If it would have been over just a little bit more, it probably would have crushed my spine. So best case scenario, I just took the line drive to the back of the head. But I had to sit out, and I didn't have an assistant coach, so I had student coaches on the field. They did amazing, and I got to supervise. So
Yeah, I mean, that's another podcast.
Yeah.
Having enough coaching staff for college,
Yeah.
right? You happen to be 4 people, 5 people.
Yeah.
Yes, it was me, myself, and I.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. All right. So my question number 3: as a Division III head softball coach, what specific criteria and guidelines do you follow during the recruitment process? Because a lot of people don't understand why D3 is so different than D1 and D2, or even NAIA.
Yeah. So we're not allowed to talk to kids until end of the day, like when they're done playing and stuff like that. So that makes it hard too, because NAI is Wild West. They do whatever they want. But
Hey,
things like that.
Was that right up the street there?
Sorry.
So it's hard that way because I have to wait to talk to kids. But then on top of that, it's all academic money. I have to look at kids that are 3, 5 and above so that they get the most academic money that we can. And then I have to look at what they want to study, because a lot of private schools don't have everything. They have like their little niches, and you have to recruit to that, and you have to hope that the kid that you're looking at wants to do that. And then a lot of time, like I was in Storm Lake, Iowa. There's nothing there. Like, how do I get California kids to want to come to Storm Lake?
You don't.
Iowa. Woo! It snows. Like,
That's so funny.
our closest town is 40 minutes away.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, but sometimes mom and dad piss them off enough they want to get away.
Oh yeah. No, and the
Crazy.
town's beautiful and everything. Like, I mean, we have a lake. The football field overlooks it. Like, it's great. But there's so many little things that I have to kind of recruit to for each person individually, and just hope that they fit.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a real good point. So when we talk about 3.5, why are you using that as a matrix? Because students that say that, they got a 3.0, they're like, hey, that's good enough. And I'm like, no, it's not good enough. So why?
With it being a private school, a lot of times what we find, if you're below a 3.5, you're going to struggle. And when you struggle, the team struggles, because we have to maintain a certain GPA to maintain eligibility.
Yeah.
But also, I hold my kids to a higher standard. Like, my 3.5s, if you were below a 3.5, you were in study hall every week, because you had to maintain those grades. If you were 3.5 and above, you didn't have to do study hall, but good for you. But
Yeah.
so when I recruit kids, I want to see a 3.5, because I think that they can do well at the school. But if you're below a 3.5, I don't know if you're gonna be able to maintain the rigorous academics that we hold.
That plus you're probably not going to sit there and babysit and hold everybody's hands, because you can't, especially as a one coach solo. Like, it's just not possible. You don't have that.
I mean, this year I had to cancel study hall at one point, because it was just me and I just didn't have the time anymore for it. So I was like, okay, just text me your start and stop times, because I can't sit here with you, because I have too much other stuff that I have to get done for the next day, or for, a week from now, or whatever, spring break, all that stuff. So I was just like, you know what? Yes, I want you in study hall, but I also needed help. Like, there was
budgets are real, right? I mean,
yes.
they're real. It's a lot of parents don't understand that. It's not their problem. Obviously, it's more coaches' problems, but it all kind of accumulates and works against us sometimes, especially in that situation. Because good Lord, you got hit in the head, you couldn't even coach. You can't
Yep.
get canceled study hall, which is a benefit to the students, but you have no choice because the college has things that you have to do on a regular basis as well, and that they're holding you accountable for, or you won't have a job. There's just a million different things that goes a part of it.
Yes.
So I mean, holy crap, that's
Well, and one of the things that I like to do is I make sure that my students are aware of everything that's going on. So like they understand what my schedule looks like. So when they can't find me in the office when they need something, they know to text me because I am on campus. We just don't know where on campus.
yeah.
Uh, but they understand what I have to go through, what hoops I have to jump through, because I like to explain it to them so that they understand that as much as I give them grace when they're having a bad mental health day, they also need to give me grace because of how many hoops I have to jump through to try and make things happen for them.
100%.
Man, well said for sure. All right, Tommy, you have the next question.
Okay. So what would you tell recruits to help them in the process of getting to the next level? What do you think are tangibles that you would tell somebody right now if they were asking, what do I need to do?
This is so
Stop ghosting, coaches. Stop ghosting them. If you're interested in a program, make sure that you keep in constant contact. If you're not interested in a program, just tell the coach, no, thank you.
Yep. 100%.
Because we talk to each other.
Oh,
Like,
we do.
there, like all of my friends are coaching friends. Like people I'm texting, people I'm on Snapchat with are all coaching friends. We talk to each other. And if you ghost us, but you're looking at one of our friends' places and they're like, oh, hey, I got this kid. I was like, oh, well, they ghosted me. That's not a good look for you.
Not.
black mark.
Sorry.
Yep.
And it's a two-way street. Recruiting is a two-way street. If I'm reaching out to somebody, they're not reaching out to me, I cannot waste time. I will miss out on kids. I gotta move forward.
Well,
And it's
yeah.
and especially with like as my one person show, when I was out recruiting, I am one person. I cannot cover all 4 complexes with 4 fields each by myself. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
So if you're interested and I'm at that tournament that you're at, text me. I'll come watch. And then we can start that conversation. If I get there and you're like, I don't really know. Sorry, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't waste time because I have other kids that I can get to that will be interested in what I have to offer.
100%.
And it's totally fine to tell a coach, hi, I appreciate your interest in me, but your school doesn't offer what I want to study. Your program isn't what I'm looking for at this point in time. Great. Thank you for your honesty. I wish you the best of luck. Let me know how I can help.
Yeah. And honestly, Sarah, I say the same thing with recruits. I'm going to be upfront with them. If they're not a fit, I always tell them it's okay to get a no. At least you know, so you can move on.
Well,
yeah.
And it's okay for that.
And throw the other piece to this, which is probably the most important piece, is that coach has got interest in you. It's hard enough to try to get a coach to get interest in you. And if you ghost them, you took yourself out of the recruiting. I mean, like you said, you guys talk. You will talk about it all. I can't tell you how many times Tommy's like, this one's gone. I'm done. Sorry. It's not. If they're going to do that to them, they're going to do that to me.
Oh, yeah. I stop. Like, usually I'm texting kids. And as soon as you stop texting me, delete your number right out of my phone.
Yep.
You guys do that? Everybody that's watching, I'm telling you right now, that is the truth. Don't make that mistake. That's good, great information.
Tony, let me finish on adding on one more thing. This is super important. I constantly have this issue where like I'll be talking to another coach and they're talking to several coaches and they're all waiting to get the best deal or to find this deal that's better than everybody else is getting. Well, by then we all are hearing that. And so we're all moving on. So basically they're losing out because they think they're going to go find a better deal somewhere else. And there's the mythical full rides they're not real anymore. It's just not what today is, but everybody's searching for that and they're just not there.
Well, and the only real people that get the full ride are pitchers. And you have to be a damn good pitcher to get that full ride. It's just, it's not plausible anymore. And the thing is, like at a D3 school, so like I'm, lowest man on the totem pole because I don't have any athletic money to give. I'm always the last choice. So I may show interest in a kid and they're waiting for these better offers. And they're like, I guess I'll settle for you. And I'm like, you know what? I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah. Right.
Like just because I'm a D3 doesn't mean I should be last choice. because D3 has a lot to offer, just as much as D1, D2, NAIA. Every level has something to offer that fit a kid. And you have to look at what you want in a school and what you want in a program in order to kind of make those decisions. But don't sit there waiting, wishing for that D1 offer. I mean, I had a kid that I absolutely loved, pitcher. She is D1 talent. And she's like, I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to stay at the D3 level where I can make changes to a program. I can be a difference maker. And I was like, yes. I want that.
Yes,
that is what I want.
100%.
And I think kids get too caught up in the level. It doesn't matter the level. You still have a conference. You still have a championship. You still have tournament runs, regionals, super regionals, and all that stuff. Yeah, you don't get as much stuff. Yeah, you still don't get as much stuff as a D1, but I'm sorry. Like, that happens. You know, it is what it is. But it doesn't matter when you go to apply for a job and you say, I was a student athlete. That's what matters. It doesn't matter what level. I was a student athlete. I was an All-American. I was a national title holder. They don't care what level you're at. They care the fact that you were a student athlete and you can show that you were able to maintain your grades while playing a sport and doing all the extra stuff that is required of that sport.
That's the 100%.
That's what matters.
Yeah, and I will add on to that as somebody that's worked in HR and taught it at the graduate level. These employers don't give a rip what a D1 kid is to a D3, to a JUCO, to an NAI. They don't care. They care about that degree. They care that you were a student athlete that just didn't go to school for school, that you actually, that you did all these other things that you were accountable for, showing up every day at practice and working.
Team atmosphere, yeah.
And working as a team together, but still getting things
being
done
a leader,
collectively as a team, right? Just like you would in a job. So these things kind of, they interrelate big time. So that's such an important comment you made because, man, it's so vital, so vital. Wow, yeah, crap. Tom, you got anything on that?
No, I mean I can keep going for days, but we don't have that much time.
You guys, just that alone, 100%. It's. We could talk about it. It was a couple things we could talk about.
Oh yeah, no, I can get on a tangent for that one. It blows my mind.
I laugh when I shouldn't say I laugh, but I go beside myself when I hear these kids going, well, I just want the D1 title. I'm like, well, that's great, but you're not playing. Isn't the whole point to play?
Right.
I mean,
didn't you
how many kids are in the portal right now? There's like 3,500 kids in the portal for a reason.
Oh yeah, and they're gonna choose people that have already shown that they can play at that level versus like a high school kid coming out of, fresh out of high school.
Yeah.
That's the reality of our sport right now.
Yeah.
And it's so sad, but
it
is what it is.
Okay, so we have 8 minutes left. So Tommy, you want to ask your last question?
That was my last question.
Okay. Sorry.
Count past 4, obviously.
So, yep. Well, you kept talking. It was bothering me.
He's a grad professor.
Yeah. All right. So Sarah, hey, quit getting on his side, damn it. Hold on. So Sarah, how do you identify recruit players each year? I mean, so obviously it's character. We talked about that. Could you share approximately percentage of players that you sign through the avenues such as showcases, college camps, our recruiting services like my company, Tech College Recruitment, direct emails from players? I mean, what do you use collectively to really find your athletes at the D3 level?
So I think so. Out of I had 11 that I recruited last year that came in. I had one of them at a college showcase. One at a college showcase out of all of the ones that I did. I think there was at least 4 that I went to throughout the year. I had 3 or 4 transfers. I had 4 transfers through not portal, but schools closing. So I did with them, but those were direct emails to their coaches and stuff like that. And then the rest of them were from recruiting services, like what you have, Tony. I promise I'll write a review one of these days.
Hey, dude, I'm kicking her off the show. What the hell? She rolled.
That's why we're kicking off with Sarah. That's why.
I'm just kidding.
Because you guys love me.
100%.
But recruiting services and direct emails from those services and whatnot are where I get my kids. And as long as you respond to me and then I invite you to a camp, you come to my camp, and then that's where we move on from there.
Talk about your camp for 1 minute. Like, why is that so important? Because you see kids that go, "Oh, I got a tournament in 2 weekends. I can't do that."
Can't go.
Oh, that bugs me so much.
Okay, so
Yeah.
explain.
Here's the thing, like, yes, camps are so different for each program and whatnot, and how they're run and all of that stuff. Now, a lot of times what my camps were like, because we did a kids camp and then we did like a college exposure camp type thing, but we run through a lot of what our practices would look like. So I can see how you're going to mesh, how you're going to run through our drills, how you're going to, build, how you're going to recover and all that stuff in a setting where I have complete control. In like a college showcase camp, I don't have complete control, and I'm just kind of wandering around hoping that you'll talk to me. No, when you're at my camp, I can talk to you the entire time. I can pull you out of drills. I can, all of this stuff.
See if
But
they're
also,
coachable. See if they're coachable, right?
yes, see if they're coachable, how they're going to respond to me in particular as a coach when I, not that I'm ever mean, but when I get on them about doing stuff.
Only the cats. Only the cats.
Only the cat.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Cats. Don't have to-
Another story.
Um,
Oh, did I just see a hand gesture?
Nope,
Oh,
we don't
no.
do that.
Oh
just
my
an itch right here on my
God.
nose.
Kinda
Yeah,
looks
we don't do that.
So, but also the biggest thing about camps is that you're feeding into a program. So camps are used as fundraisers. And if we're inviting you to those camps, that's going to directly benefit you if you choose that school
good
in
point.
terms of fundraising for spring break or other extra trips that we take, or sometimes we do fun things. Like I took my kids to Universal last year, and the year before we went to Disneyland when we were out in California. So like camps directly affect the players. And if you want to be a player on that team, then those camps that you're feeding into directly affect that program for you.
Yeah.
So camps that we invite you to are super important for the relationship that we can create, but also what you're giving back to that program that you're going to hopefully be part of.
So how important is that softball tournament versus going to your camp?
That softball tournament doesn't matter if you're being invited to a camp.
Amen.
Yeah. I mean, Sarah, you and I have talked about this a bunch. We've had players, both of us, that, we said, we want you to come out. We're very interested. Oh, well, my team's playing next weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, here's the deal. If you're choosing that over the job they're supposed to be doing is getting you to me, and I get the loyalty thing. I'm not saying not to be loyal, but this, you might only get one opportunity. You might only get one chance. And you might be giving that up if you don't show up to that camp.
Yep. 100%.
Regardless if it's a paid camp or not, that doesn't even matter. If the coach is expressing that they want you there and you want it, you're interested, you probably should be there.
If I have personally invited you to my camp, and I can, when you walk up and I can say, hey, Abby, how are you? How's everything going? Like, you have that connection with me now.
Yeah.
Like, that's what most kids want. They want that connection to the coach. But if you're not going to show up because you have a tournament, we're done. I'm not going to follow up with that.
Is that for seniors only, or can that be a junior?
That could be a junior.
So let's take it this way. If you say, hey, you're a junior, and you're like, yeah, we can come out, and they say, nah, I got a high school tournament, or I got a tournament, I got a softball tournament, and they don't show up, do you write them off the list? Because they say, oh, hold on, the next year I'm a senior, no one's really coming after me. I really want to. Now, what are you gonna write them off, or are you gonna say, okay, let's talk?
I usually write them off.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you didn't.
One chance.
I expressed the interest in you, but you did not express the interest in me. And that right there showed me everything that I needed to see, that I wasn't enough of a interest for you.
Yeah.
And that's fine if that's the way that you want to go, but don't come back to me later because you're not getting interest from anyone else.
Happens all the time, doesn't it?
Happens all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Like I cannot stress this enough, that people and players and parents don't realize that you might only get one shot with a program. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not pass it up because you might only get a few shots in general out of your 4 years of being recruited, right? That's it. There's no guarantees. There's no guarantees.
If you're gonna play at the D1 level, you know that you will play there by your freshman, sophomore year.
Facts.
You will already know that. By the
Facts.
time you're getting recruited by the D2, D3, NAI JUCOs, your sophomore, junior year, you will already know that you will not be getting a D1 scholarship. So maybe it's time to start looking at something a little bit lower on the totem pole.
Sarah, I see it all the time. And I
Fact.
just shake my head because I'm like, this kid could be, like you just said, bring a kid in that's a game changer for your program. And how about break some records?
Yeah.
How about have their name? How about they have their name in history? How about walking
Yep.
away with the game saying I was a part of it versus saying
Yeah.
I was on the bench at the D1 level?
So
I'm not
I mean,
bagging on D1.
and
D1's great. Everybody should want to be there.
I'm also a little guilty of that. Like when I played, it was D1 bust, all of that stuff. And I did that. I played at that level. But my first school that I played at, I didn't really play.
yeah. So
And I did transfer. So
Yeah.
like
I don't wanna
I should have done more research and looked at the lower levels, because I could have made a huge difference at one of those lower levels.